A gente está aqui para jogar e ser feliz e buscar o topo. Sim, a gente está ainda mais confiante. Eu acredito que a Pmgc vai ser a melhor de todos os tempos da Influence Age.
أنا واثق من نفسي هواي واثق من تيمي هواي أيضا ونتأمل ناخذ توب 1.
Perjalanan Pmgc kita orang pada tahun 2024 boleh dikatakan sangat teruk. Kami langsung tak berjaya untuk lepas ke next stage. Tapi 2025 akan berbeza. Saya tak akan biarkan kesilapan yang sama berlaku dua kali.
It's my fault, but I always come back.
Don't get it twisted. Our talent was never the problem.
Bom, este ano voltamos com mais fome, mais disciplina e com a mentalidade bem mais clara. Acredito que este é o nosso momento.
Saya tak nak orang lain ingat tim Malaysia ni datang untuk bercuti je. Tapi saya nak diorang tahu yang kita orang boleh bagi saingan terbaik untuk tim-tim global.
All right, let's keep things rolling. We are going to be heading on into the next match and hopefully getting things underway nice and quickly. Apologies for the slight delay, but we are going to be jetting on in, making sure everyone is fighting fit as a fiddle to be carrying on with proceedings. Blank, it's been an interesting day. I mean, the desk was talking about how it feels a little bit more like chess or the rotations than the boxing matches that we saw back in Group Red. I feel like from what you've said so far today, I feel like you agree.
Yeah, I think that there is like this almost a little bit of me is thinking, oh, is this a little bit just of a less aggressive lobby? I think that at this stage of the game and this stage of the year as well, it's like you'd expect every single team to know exactly what they're doing here. But at the same time, I am just sort of curious in terms of the aggression that's coming through. It doesn't feel like there's quite enough here.
Yeah, it's that is interesting. That is interesting to bring up, right? Because we've seen, I think E-Arena is kind of the example of this, right? Obviously, in the first game, we kind of, that's an exception. Maybe we don't talk about that much, but throughout the rest of it, generally very, very passive, right? Waiting for things to come to them, surviving quite a long time, though, to be fair, and that might well be enough if you're able to blast out when they all do come to you. It can work out, get you up into a top 3 position. We are going to be heading into another Erangel, though, Blank, as we head on into the skies for one more time. We'll probably be seeing this one again after... No, this is the last one today. Yes, we are on match 4. We'll be seeing the Miramars after this one, so we'll have to wait till tomorrow to see more after this one, so make the most of it whilst it's here. Again, quite a hard cut south on the plane path.
Yeah, pretty tough playing path on this one. Obviously, Nuclear Zone's gonna be quite happy being able to drop towards Mill to Power easily off the back of this one. Yeah, it's very southern leaning. It's actually one of the hardest playing paths to play over on Erangel. The fact that it cuts down south of the water as well. So difficult to get towards the north side of the map. And a lot of times, you do have a lot of players dropping over towards the east, but the majority of that split is on that western side from Primorsk all the way up to even like a Zaki split. Just the eastern side of shooting range. So I think that this is harder in general because the area of the map where you usually have the most amount of players being able to move across is on that western side, and here you're forced to cram everyone towards the east. There's definitely going to be teams dropping on top of one another, as you can see here, Weibo taking down one player from VP. Now, Maxman was talking in particular that VP just wasn't looking like a squad right now who could take over the lobby, which is what they enjoy doing, and I'd agree with that. I think they're a team that likes to bully, and here there isn't a lot of teams to bully, honestly. There's not a lot of teams to shove out your way and take a central position.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher of an opponent than maybe they're used to. And we'll see if they can adapt to it, because right now they are dead last. They got 1 point a match. We'll see where they're going to be able to earn their point this time around. I was looking at where teams were dropping. I was worried about down towards Primorsk because both E-Arena and Influence Rage were dropping down in that area. But E-Arena sent a lot further up, and they will play that West Coast split. Again, just keeping that one going. Other than the Elam we just saw there against VP, seems like everybody else is out of danger for the time being. Yeah, everyone else is nice and split from one another. E-Arena finally dropping down. It doesn't look like they've got too many vehicles though, Blank. So maybe a long walk ahead of them.
Yeah, just gonna cut in here with Weibo because they're starting on the south side of Stalber. And again, I think that if you are, you don't really have to replay this, for sure. So yeah, VP is getting kind of trounced upon right now. But yeah, for Weibo, I think that they've got the lobby under wraps
already. And I think they're quickly understanding what needs to be done because they're already sending central. They realize so many of those squads just aren't moving. They just aren't moving off the center of the circle. They're not looking to pick up strong positions early on either. On Weibo, on the other hand, they're just like, we'll just pick a central spot that we can rotate freely from and then work from there because everyone's trying to play on the edge or just towards the center on the outer bounds. I think there's a little bit of a lack of confidence inside this lobby at the moment. Maybe, or maybe it's caution, right? Like, obviously, new lobby, don't know what's going on exactly. You should be aware of general principles, but every lobby is different. And we do keep chopping and changing them here at PMGC. Some familiar faces, some not so, and making sure that everybody is on a little uneven footing going into this one. So maybe they're feeling it more here in Group Red. So yeah, maybe it is a little bit not as bold as they potentially could be. At the moment, there's a few teams taking advantage of that. Two teams over that 40-point boundary and Weibo up on 36. It's looking pretty decent and a really big drop-off down towards 6th place with Pregnant Kai only on 17 so far. ETSH currently passing that Stalber Hill, moving in on that south side of Severny, as teams need to move farther north up here for the circle as it pops all the way up towards shooting range.
I did praise Weibo. This is a very greedy split from them, to be honest with you. They're playing towards Severny and the compound that just sits the west of Stalber. Both really strong positions, to be honest, especially the one off towards the western side of Stalber as well, John. If the circle does move over towards the northeast, you are going to see teams rotating towards that position very quickly. But this does keep Weibo pretty safe. They have an eye in over towards Severny, but Order's pretty okay in that spot as well because you can play the ridge line. Then you also have the 33Z trying to pick up a positioning shooting range. Wow, okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's very, very big right now on the split. And maybe they'll look to regroup. I could see some vehicles being hopped into from the east flank, but not holding my breath. Alliance, they blasted out on the swamp side. They're on 29 points now, Blank, in 4th place, moving 2 and 2 right now. So they have got this is their rearmost position. They've got 2 players a lot further north, so Jimmy and Olio bringing up the rear. Not across that river yet. They're just to the east of Roshok right now, east of apartments. In the meantime, Burmese Ghouls actually might have Boars to deal with on the far side of this bridge. As the Boars are sticking around, it seems. They don't want to get to the next circle. They're busy.
वैसे बड़े-बड़े प्लेयर
Yeah, I mean, they're taking the time. They're definitely taking the time with this.
पक्का
Well, they move across the DRX on the western side of things, have crossed the bridge over towards the south side of shooting range. A little bit split off at the moment, just searching for position in the circle. It's a little bit more central, but again, you don't really...
Playing on the outer edges of the circle anyway. QXZ will send Easy for Bad Boy packing, but the rest of his team not so happy with the fact that they were rebuffed there. QXC's coming back for round 2. Okay.
He's letting them know, you know, for DRX, holding as much ground as you can in this area could be quite important. It forces teams further towards the east side of the center of this next circle. It puts more pressure into that area, and the more pressure that exists there, the less pressure is on you. So I like the outward presence that they're trying to take. Sure, it's a bit of a risk though, but at the moment, I think it's okay. I think if you did this in maybe 2 minutes' time, that's where it starts to get a bit dangerous for something like that, for a play like that, because there'll be more teams around. Everyone will be a lot more confident in their holds, in their positions. It's during the establishing phase that you can have an impact on that pressure.
I'm not insane. I hope someone can confirm this, but Snorix did just spin like a Beyblade in that vehicle, right?
I was looking at the map feed. I'll be honest, I didn't catch that. Can we get an analyst confirmation on the Beyblade technique?
Yeah, it felt pretty cool. And he was straight back on target as well.
All right. Yeah, we've got confirmation.
Got his bow nice and early.
Big Beyblade action.
He did let it rip. He did. Fantastic.
Believe in the heart of the cards or something. I believe. I'm not sure.
What the? What you just said is
digital monsters, right?
So criminal.
Digital monsters?
Stop. You need to stop.
Ooh, okay, well, Wild needs to stop too, because he is taking shots out, and it looks like Loxley's going to be the one to pay the price for his hubris. Although he's giving them a good run around. Whoa, okay, Flying Silas out the window. Going to try and look for the shots on the overpeak. Might actually, wait, Loxley's not flushed. Is Silas going to get Loxley back up here? Did he just fly and save him in the vehicle?
Ooh, it seems so, but there is a player looking to come on in, and we'll clean house. Where was the hold?
Yeah,
that's
there was
the question.
Player for Regnum Kaya on the outside. I mean, they won the fight, but that was messy. It looked fun for Silas, but that was messy. The big news, though, is the circle blank. Big shift.
Yeah, he's a massive shift over towards the western side. I mean,
Weibo though, easy picking for them. Managed to
instantly pull off from Severny, head over towards, probably going to try and pick up a compound on the western side of shooting range, try play the higher ground there. I'm very impressed with Weibo so far. I think that they've had the cleanest rotates today. I think there's been a fair few games where they've been almost free wins for teams, and I think for Weibo they've made the best rotations out of all of them when it comes to salvaging, when it comes to setting themselves up for that late game. Big fan, very big fan.
Yeah, they're doing okay right now on that northern side here. A big stretch out, and still holding quite a lot of ground. Twisted Minds, they are across the bridge onto the northern shores. So we're not going to quite have the ability to have a Zaki circle, but near enough. Teams out on the west side. I'm looking at E-Arena, and again, they're kind of chilling. No one actually competing for the west side of this one. Sure, the fields to the north of North George, not super favorable, but there's buildings out to the east side of them that they could potentially look to turn in towards. That ridge line as well to co-occupy with WBG. Weibo Gaming on their split can't really hold 1 point of it. Actually, I'm looking on that north side, and maybe they are going to have to hold a point against True Rippers, but that'll unfold in a moment.
I mean, Sook's in a vehicle right now because he either needs to maintain scouting over towards the south side, but he immediately also needs to regroup the rest of Weibo should they have a team rotate over the top side of Severny. And Malloy, very nice. Love to see it.
Ooh, and the rest of them too. This is a pretty important compound as well, given the state of the circle. Holding here would be brilliant, but the nades are good to open up for... Wait, hang on a minute. No, that wasn't them. That was actually... I take that back. It was entirely really bad nade from Voston. Nades himself. And True Ripper's actually going to try and descend on this flank. A third party potentially coming on in. They want to earn those points, grab those prizes. Nuclear Zone looking to try and keep Virtus Pro at bay. And True Rippers also going to give it a good go. There's a knock found. And Alliance are going to wade into this fight as well. Could be another third party coming through. Virtus Pro stepping out, flexing out from their building, and actually doing a lot of work in the chaos of that third party engagement.
Yeah, I mean, True Rippers made their way onto this. They have taken a knock, but so far are controlling quite well. Malloy has been pretty crazy with the pump action so far. For Weibo, though, yeah, overall, just insane game from them so far on the rotational aspect. They get a real classy compound to themselves in the center of the circle, and they play this one out fantastically. Good nade from Hydro over towards Milky Way. I feel like True Rippers should be able to clean out this fight now.
They did commit to it. They committed to this third party. For Alliance actually sailed all the way past. They want to get into the zone, and maybe that would be the better choice in the long run. But for now, True Rippers riding high and able to take down 3 points off of that engagement. They'll be happy to be able to earn those. They're up into 8 points now. But, as I said before, their next task is to move further west, and Alliance had the inside track, diverting, completely avoiding that third-party situation.
I mean, they get ahead of it. That's the main thing, right? They get ahead of it. And passing through that area is not easy. The Lord, finally, we're shooting hovercrafts. It's taken a while to get there. Honestly, this happens a lot over in CSA, as well as EU, and everyone really knows like the solution to it, which is you just blast the hovercraft as much as possible, and then they're sitting ducks afterwards because everyone's so overconfident when rotating in a hovercraft. But during PMGC, I think that the overall counterattack to hovercrafts has been pretty poor so far.
Hopefully, they'll be able to figure it out. Coming on in. It seems like, yeah, whenever a hovercraft was moving, everybody was shooting at it in some of the sub-regions. Definitely a change of tune here. Around the ruins of the plane, Team Flash looking to move in from that southeast side, transition from that shooting range hill to a further west position. The Burmese ghouls, yeah, they're not in this next zone. So sure, you've got the high ground for now. There's no one really nearby. They're going to have to move to that north, probably regroup towards Ichi, transition from there, use him as a foothold, a slingshot to push themselves forward. But into those hills, you've got WBG, you've got Arc, you've got Influence Rage as well, who are already holding face there. So a difficult approach to be made.
Yeah, I think anyone not down on the southeast side is a little bit stuck. Let's put it that way. Getting up this hillside is quite difficult. So a lot of teams already hold strong positions. For E-Arena, they get a very fortunate game. The fact that it heads up this way, they sent all the way towards North George, and they've been able to just loot this position for a long time. They should have all the utility in the world to work with. Hard shift on the north side actually shifts over towards the water, which is very unlikely. And I think that if for Weibo, you can't blame them here. This is really out of the norm for circles. I think they absolutely expected this circle to go center, but on a stage 4 shift to shift on top of water, that doesn't happen. That really does not happen. The team's getting very unlucky here.
Yeah, that's that hard south regroup. Kind of nasty. They gave up this bunker position that Arcred now have as well. On the north side, Rectum Kai went for a very quick move towards that coastline, and DRX are taking the dip just in front of them out to their west side. E-Arena, they've been chilling for a long time on that west edge. They love playing these edge style situations that you highlighted that during the previous matches. It will be no different here. And the fact that it's gone so far north, I think that's kind of great news for E-Arena's game plan.
Again, I do think E-Arena got lucky on this game. I think they got very lucky on this game in terms of where they went to go loot. Because this could have been a horrible game for them if the circle shifted far over towards the eastern side and they spent so much time in Georgia Pole. But here they've just been able to loot all day long. And then just because there's no one on this western edge of the circle because of the way the plane path fell, you get a really free and easy sweep on the west side. There's still teams in front of them that they'll have to deal with, and that will require skill. But the setup for this game has not been that hard.
No, it has been a pretty long road, though. I think it's safe to say a south plane path into a north coast near to Zaki finish, right? It's definitely been a bit of a trial, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that impacts the sort of the total utility count when we get towards the later stages of the game. Teams might not have had as long to get that loot on board. A couple fewer smokes maybe, and maybe more expended to get to the approach. We'll have to wait and see, though, if anyone's been hoarding them. A little cache of goodies to play around with. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, some fighting is starting now. E-Arena on that west side. Twisted Minds, Boars coming into conflict, as well as DRX, actually, a lot closer to the center, picking up the stragglers of Twisted Minds.
But E-Arena is a good time to go. Sadly, Twisted Minds fall over really quickly. Means the Boars are very secure in that position. The rest of E-Arena really weren't there. They're still looting for some reason. Should have a lot of smokes to work with going forward. True Rippers with the hovercraft will drop that one down. Good side swipe actually from Hydra, and immediately backs off the position. Quite like that there. It's a good distraction maneuver, and now the Flash just down to one player. Influence Rage will come in to finish the job, though.
Oh, yeah, they're getting taken down here. It's Team Flash on the ropes as True Rippers, they've lost one to a full Flash. Influence Rage moving on in with 3 players alive. Federal has to hide behind the tree, though. Healing up as fast as he can. Stage 4 zone, so just have a little bit of time to play with. The heals are coming through. Influence Rage are continuing to break ground here, but Jelly on the low ground needs to worry about Federal. If he hasn't taken him down already, that could be a really, really dangerous angle for him to handle, and Law's able to get the side swipe. Picking it up now, the last player to stand. Federal did go down, and there's only one player for the True Rippers. He's spotted, but he will be put to bed. That is nasty on the off angle. They've still got one more, but no. It's going to be done and dusted. 3 elims found. Who's this, though? It's the last player from Team Flash. Zayas is going to take down Influence Rage. Okay, they survived through it all, but now Arfred are here. They love these oversight third parties. That's exactly what they flex out for.
This is the second time today the Flash has been able to live out a 3-man third party as the final player. We had Win do it over there on Rondo. These players just seem to forget that they're still existing in these engagements. For True Rippers, I did quite like the way they were manipulating the sidelines, you know, playing multiple angles, then quickly pushing off. Good shot from NC2 with the Epicam. Really easy initial shot. That might be the go signal for E Arena, actually.
Jumping. They might need to be a little bit quicker than that, though, because SnowX hits them with the Beyblade attack. Blasts them with that metal core. Now they lose a player. Sakura down for the time being, but the Bulls having a really rubbish time now. As 30K sees him coming from a mile off. E-Arena picking up the points there, losing 1, but with 5, they will reclaim that top spot that Influence Rage so temporarily held.
Weibo, they lose one player in order who was their outpost, but now they're looking to finish off a couple of teams in their zone. Wild spray there from Sook. Luckily 33Z is there to pick up the slack. Now Geek looks to send a grenade across. It's quite long. I don't think it does too much damage. Saf G takes a lot there from the high ground.
We're not going to be too worried about that nade. That one's a little bit closer to home, but it's not going to do enough damage to get another knock. So smoke starting to come on through. E-Arena flexing down south here. And a little bit of a split still. They're not overcommitting. They're just continuing their watch to hold on this western side. Tony K. I don't think he's going to be able to do enough to take down Weibo entirely here. Not with the Burmese Ghouls up top, with Geek on the oversight. Don't think you can push around as convincingly enough. Walsh is okay. He's not in any of the teams that are playing around here. Walsh is on a mad one right now. He's still alive. How has that happened? There were about 1 million barrels pointed your way. How have you gotten away with this, Walsh?
I mean, you can just send dead center, to be honest with you. But see how long you can live out for. Magnum Kai up to 5 eliminations so far, despite losing a player earlier on. And here is the bow in action. Very, very good, actually, fights versus Wizard Tower, because it's pretty particular angles you can take there. And you can just pepper both of those positions inside that building.
I mean, the difficulty is getting that lineup right with Burmese Ghouls up the top. You can't really peek for too long at all if you're Weibo. So you can't keep that suppression going. Okay, there we go. Walsh does go down. That came from Regnum Kaya, actually, all the way up on that northern side. And the circle, I mean, it doesn't hugely favor anyone right now, Blank. I mean, E-Arena maybe, but DRX probably the only team that's going to have I don't even want to say good time, but an okay time.
Yeah, it's curious the way that Weibo need to play this out now. For Geek, they've set themselves up very nicely ahead of the pack. And they just need to hold out Weibo. And because they understand the terrain here, they know that Weibo's options are very limited going forward. They could send out over towards that northern side, which is what 33Z is going to go for. But they need to immediately find a pickoff over towards 10K.
Spray downs towards TK. So 3Z going down, you're right. I mean, that's immediately getting flushed. They're going to have to leave this fight. It might be favorable, but they didn't do it quite quick enough. Stop Geek trying to step up to them. Maybe a bit overzealous there. Not too sure about that push, but it's going to slow Weibo down. And it's going to make them a little bit harder on on the get out. There's the rundown as well from the Ghouls. You're right. They deciding instead of going for the circle, they're going to try and push PK as they leave, but Godspeed hits them around their tree trunk there, not quite able to connect from the spray down. He's taken a lot of damage, steps out too wide against Kevin, but the reverse spray down is going to come on through. And that is the pickup for Pmgc Schools. But Arc just love these oversight third parties. You can't stop them. And they will continue to keep Pmgc Schools on the lock-in. I don't think they're getting away from it. There's the spray down. Hardboy with a wide flex out. Arena may be ready to pounce.
I mean, Arena's played that very well. I think they realize, again, that's just good terrain knowledge from Arena, understanding that one of the only options for teams that are stuck underneath this wizard tower is to send towards the north, and 10EK does a great job to hold that angle. I think for Weibo, if they waited slightly there, maybe they could wrap into that fight versus between Pmgc Schools as well as Geek, maybe get some more points. But overall, wrapping towards that north side, trying to take down the players from Arena was the high value play.
See if they can keep those high value players coming thick and fast. Starfred moving on towards Joker, and he didn't have the backup necessary to hold out against this. Only the one player now left standing for Arena. But with 8 elims, it's louder than they've been previously. So I'm not too displeased. Down to top 5 again, getting very deep into these games. Seems like they just know how this edge game goes. With 8 elims, it's looking pretty good. But for now, I mean, maybe this is Regnum Kaya's game. They have got a pretty solid spot on that northern edge. It's not easy to play, but they are safe and they are very central.
We haven't talked about too much, but to recap really quickly, I think overall for Regnum Kaya, they have been very good, and when it comes to taking shots across the entirety of this circle, they've constantly maintained pressure over multiple teams, and that's been fantastic. DRX, though, in another situation as a 4-man with very little eliminations, looking to take a chicken dinner here. We saw that that wasn't enough, though, in the gauntlet. Need higher elim gains from DRX.
Okay.
If they do get the chicken dinner, it's still good, though. You know, it sets them up for a top of the leaderboard finish at the end of the day. But again, we need more aggression from DRX. I think that's just a fact.
Yeah, I think we'll wait to see it. It came through from their South Korean counterparts. We'll see if they can bring it to bear here for DRX. They have to move further east, but Regnum Kaya holding on that long terrain might actually be under threat here, as if DRX get those sideswipe angles, it's going to be tricky for Regnum Kaya to fully deal with it if they have to stay down on the belt buckle because of Arc Red's position right now.
Tough ending zone. Very, very tough ending zone.